Hey guys, this is our last video in the series of the thoracic wall muscles. In the first video we discussed the anterior thoracic wall muscles, and in second video we discussed the superficial and the middle layer of the posterior thoracic wall muscles or the back muscles. Now this last video is dedicated to the deep layer of the back muscles. So the deep layer is called intrinsic layer. Why? Because it is embryologically derived within the area. It is supplied by the posterior rami of the spinal nerves, and it is associated with the movement and stabilization of the vertebra. It is further classified into the superior, intermediate, and the deep layer. The superior layer consists of the muscles which are superiorly associated. Superficial layer is associated with the muscles which are superiorly situated. The splenius capitis, obviously with the name capitis we know that it must be associated with the base of the skull or the capitum, and the splenius cervicis should be associated with the cervical region. So splenius capitis start from the ligamentum nuchae and goes down to the T4, and then it terminates into the mastoid process in the base of the occiput. Splenius cervicis starts from the spinal processes of the T3 all the way down to the T6, and then they get attached to the transverse processes of the C1 to C3. So you can see that the capitis, the red one is the capitis, and then it is attached to the mastoid process and obviously the base of the skull, whereas the lower one is attached most laterally to the transverse processes of the cervical vertebra from C1 to C3. They are supplied by the posterior rami of the cervical nerves, C3 to C4 for the capitis, splenius capitis, and C1 to C3 to the splenius cervicis. Now, intermediate layer, which is called the erector spinae. Intermediate layer consists of 3 columns of muscles because they are named according to the point of insertion. They have the same point of origin, which is the common tendinous origin that starts from the sacrum, and then it covers the lumbar area all the way to the lower thoracic region, and from there it proceeds to the point of insertion, and point of insertion is different for these columns. That is why they are named according to their point of insertions. The lateral one is called iliocostalis because it starts from the common tendinous origin, and then it comes obviously with the name costalis. We know that it should be attached to the ribs, so they are attached to the angle of the ribs. Then in the middle we have longissimus, and the medial most portion or the medial most column is called the spinalis because it is attached to the spinous processes of the vertebra. The important thing is that they are attached to the C2 to T12. T12 is the ending, is the most inferior most area for the insertion for both columns. So in longissimus, starting from the common tendinous origin, they terminate at the transverse processes of the vertebra, whereas in the spinalis they start from the common tendinous origin but terminate in the spinal processes of the vertebra from C2 to T12 in both columns. So it should be easy to memorize that in iliocostalis, obviously starting from the same point, they end or terminate into the angle of ribs. For longissimus and spinalis, they get attached from C2 to T12, but for longissimus they are attached to the transverse processes, and for spinalis they get attached to the spinous processes of the vertebra, and their point of origin is same, which is the common tendinous origin of lumbar, thoracic, and sacral area. So these are just the tendinous fibers which originate from the lower back. Now we have the deep muscles. Deep muscles are a bit more intimidating layer, but I will try to simplify them as much as possible. They are not that important, they are not asked in the exams, so it's okay if it scares you a little bit. The deep layer is the semi-spinalis, multifidus, then we have the rotators and the minor deep muscle layer. The semi-spinalis are the muscles which are attached from the transverse processes to the spinous processes. They are attached to the transverse processes of the vertebra below, and then they are attached to the spinous processes of the vertebra above. But the important thing is that to remember is that when we are studying the vertebra, then we know that if this is the medial one, or in the center we have the spinal process, and then we have the transverse process. If this is the transverse process, this is the body, and then we have the foramen. So these, obviously the transverse processes are situated laterally, and then the spinous process is situated more medially. So we should know that from the spinous processes, from the transverse process of the vertebra below, the fibers comes to the spinous or the medial process, spinous process of the vertebra above. So These are called semispinalis. Multifidus are the broad muscles and they are best developed in the lumbar region. So from the lumbar region, you should remember their articulation, you should remember their point of insertion. Why? Because they again originate from the common tendinous origin, that is from the sacrum and from the lumbar region, and they terminate into the mammillary body of the lumbar region, lumbar vertebra, transverse process of the thoracic vertebra, articular process of the cervical vertebra. So if you know the proper differentiation of the vertebra and their specific anatomy, then it should be easier for you to memorize it. But the important thing that you need to remember is that these are the broad muscles which are most well developed in the lumbar region. Then you have the rotators. Rotators are best developed in the thoracic region. They again start from the transverse process of one vertebra and then they terminate in the spinous process of the vertebra above, but they are directly related to the edges in the immediate vertebra. For instance, if we have T3, then from the transverse process of the T4 they will terminate to the spinal process of the T3. So just the vertebra above. Minor deep layer of muscle are the easiest muscles. Why? Because they are attached to the transverse processes, adjacent transverse processes of the same vertebra. So if we are talking about this vertebra, then these are the transverse processes on the same vertebra. These muscles are attached to each other in order to stabilize the vertebra. So it is very easy. This is the simplest and the most superficial explanation, that the deep layer consists of semispinalis, which consist of the muscles which originate from the terminal or the transverse processes of one vertebra and insert into the spinal process of the vertebra above. And then we have multifidus, which are well developed in the lumbar region. They can originate from the common tendinous origin and then they terminate into the mammillary body of the lumbar region, transverse process of the thoracic region, and in the end articular processes of the cervical region. And then we have rotators, which are better developed in the thoracic region, and then they are attached from the transverse process of one vertebra to the spinal processes of the vertebra just above that. And then we have minor deep layer, which consists of muscles which are attaching the transverse processes, the adjacent transverse processes, in order to stabilize the vertebra. It's very simple. These were the deep layer of the back muscles. Again, superficial is splenius capitis and cervicis. Then we have intermediate columns, starting from the spinalis, longissimus, and then intercostalis. And then we have the deep semispinalis, multifidus, rotators, and minor deep. This was the simplest explanation, and if you just remember their function and if you just remember their names, they are all interrelated and it should be easy for you to understand. Thank you so much.